Hello everyone and welcome to the absolutely stunning Cheshire Oaks Fisheries. It's been flipping ages since I've been here. The last time I came here, the carps are all sort of like that size, loads of other fishing, but now the carp have all grown massive and there's still loads of other fishing as well. I proper can't wait for it today. So what we're going to be doing, we are going to be doing sort of like an autumn expander session, keeping it really simple. You know, this time of year, fish are sort of like proper getting, or they're wanting to feed up for the winter, and by targeting them on sort of your feeding your micros and using expanders on the hook, it's just a brilliant way to avoid sort of like the smaller fish, if you like, that you catch on like your maggots and your casters. Yeah, they're packing the weight on, so it's all about setting little babby traps, certainly for carp, but I believe there's a lot of skimmers in here as well now, and obviously skimmers absolutely adore your micros and expanders, and I proper can't wait for it. I'm going to say it's like 6-7 years since I last fished here, probably similar pegs where we fished last time as well, and yeah, proper can't wait to get going. So I'm going to run you through the rigs first, just keeping it nice and simple. I've got a rig for a cross in sort of like 2.5-3 foot of water, and I've got a rig for straight down the middle, which is exactly what I'll be doing match conditions. Nothing complicated. It's, where are we now? We're sort of like second day in October, so nights are starting to get a little bit colder. It's still fairly warm throughout the day, but it's what happens at night time, and that's when micros and expanders come into their own. You can forget your hard pellets. I probably won't be touching them now until, you know, we get into next spring. Micros and expanders is a way forward. So we'll go through the bait after I've taught you through the rigs. You know, little tips and tricks that I'm going to be doing with the expanders, how I prepare the micros. I've done it thousands of times before, but first things first, let's talk through rigs. So first one, it's pretty wide, this lake. There's 4 lakes here. This is currently the only one you can fish on, Lake 1, but lakes 2 and 3, they're proper getting them prepared, folks. Oh, Minnie Moo, got Minnie Moo with us today. Yeah, lakes 2 and 3, they'll probably be opening next year, something like that. So exciting things happening here at Cheshire Oaks Fisheries. Keep a lookout for it, folks. Right, so first rig, yeah, 16 metres wide. I've gone to find sort of like your typical sort of 2 to 3 foot. Just bear in mind, obviously, conditions on the day, folks. If it's really bright, then obviously just come into a little bit deeper water or go to cover. But we've got a lot of colour in the water. There's a tinge of dye in the water, so I don't need to get across to cover. Also, it's like a bit overcast, so I'm just going to look to find, as I said, like 3 foot. So, elastic-wise, because I'm expecting more carp across there. Yeah, I believe there's a lot of skimmers in, but I'm expecting more carp across there. That's why I've gone for what I'll be using like throughout the summer, really, and that's a 13's Dura Hybrid elastic. Absolutely adore this stuff for carp. Never lets you down. Proper, loads of stretch in it, and just copes with all the wobbliest of all wobbliest carp. Main line, 0.18 AccuPower. Again, nice and robust. I might have to step up my hook length, simply because it's that time of year. I love this time of year. The fish are feeding. I'm not starting off on a 0.16, but if I need to, I can go up to a 0.16 by using a 0.18 main line. You'll see the distance between the pole tip and the float I've got there. You know, it's quite a good distance. We're probably talking 20-22 inches. That's to allow for the flipping wind. There's always something, isn't there? It's been off your back all week, and as soon as we rock up, it's got like left to right wind on, but it is what it is. That's why I've got a longer line, pole tip to float. I'm not sure what the tow's going to do over there. I'd imagine it'd be going with the wind over there and down the middle against the wind, but we'll see what happens when we get over there. So I've just Tipex my number 8 back shots out with a little bit of white Tipex there, just so I can see them. Now float wise, I've gone for a 4x12's F1 pellet. The reason for F1 pellet is wire stem. Yeah, so micros and expander fishing is all about stability. I need to make sure that my float is in position and not really moving. It's different with like your natural baits, your maggots, your casters, your worms. You can lift and drop that, get them moving. But certainly with pellets, I want to make sure stability-wise, that's how I've gone with a wire stem. And then shotting-wise, couldn't be simpler. I've just got a few trimming shots under the float there, but coming down the line, I've got 5 number 9 shots, just on like a little tapered shotting pattern. My last one ends at sort of 13 inches, and I've got a 0.14 hook length on to start with, to a size 16 hook, 4 inches. The reason I've gone 14 to start with, even though there's colour in the water and other carp will be feeding, is because I want to give myself the best chance, yeah? So early on in the session, like if I was in a match or what have you, I want to make sure I'm getting bites. I can always go up. I could obviously go down as well if I'm not getting bites, but I shouldn't have to go any lighter than a 14. And 14 is just that happy medium. Certainly with a 16 hook on as well. Obviously, I've got 4mm and 6mm expander pellets today. Now the beauty of using a 6mm pellet, a 16 hook, is it allows me to fish both a 4mm and a 6mm. If I was to use an 18 hook and try and put a 6mm on, it's just a little bit too, a little bit too small for that. If I was to use a 14 hook and try and put a 4mm on, again, the hook's a little bit too big, whereas a happy medium, size 16 hook will cover absolutely everything. And plumbing up wise, it's on, the incline over there is pretty steep. So what I've done, I've managed to find like a little tiny area opposite like a white flower on the far bank, and I plumbed up to the bottom, just coming onto the stem of the body of the float. I don't want to be up here somewhere, which is where I'd normally be. Because we've got a little bit of wind on, I want to come down on the stem a little bit. So I've gone sort of like maybe a couple of inches over depth, something like that. That's what I've gone for on that rig. So kept it nice and simple. My other one for down the middle. So we've got getting on for 3 foot across there. And then down the middle, we've got 54 inches. So that's like, hang on. 3 foot, 4 foot. So 4.5 foot down the middle. He said it'd be 4.5 foot in the shop. Oh, fair play. And down here, this is where I'm going to expect like everything swimming. Across, yeah, potentially everything, but predominantly carp, I would have thought. But down the middle, everything's swimming. So obviously the skimmers, the tension, I believe as well, but obviously the carp. That's why I've gone for a lighter elastic. So a grade lighter than the 13s. I've gone for 11s Dura hybrid. Again, will cope with absolutely everything, but it's perfect for not, said it Anna, not bumping fish. Just nice and soft, and obviously with it being on a puller kit, as soon as you get it back to the puller kit, you can just keep pulling anyway. I've gone a little bit lighter on this one as well, folks. So 0.16 mainline on this, because I'm not expected to go any bigger than that. I don't think the carp will rock up in numbers, but the colder it gets, obviously that's where they're going to end up. So 0.16, still got a nice long bit of line pull tip to float, 2 number 8s back shots, exactly the same pattern of float, F1 pellet, but a 414. It's just a little bit heavier, just to cope with obviously the undertow, the depth of water, the kind of fish that you'll expect to come to get there as well. I just want to go fishing a little bit more positive to pick out them proper bites. And shotting wise, again, nice and simple. Little tiny number 12 just under the float to really dot that float down. And then we've just got a tapered shotting pattern on again. So you can see where this one ends, because it's fishing a little bit deeper. My last shot is at 18 inches. And then it's just a string, again, of number 9s, just 2 more on this one, so 7 number 9s, coming down to exactly the same hook length and same hook, 0.14 Aki power to a size 16s GPMB hook. So that's the 2 rigs, nothing complicated with that whatsoever. Next thing I want to talk to you about is the bait. So the feed bait first, again, keeping it so simple. Just your micros, your 2mm micros, Fin Perfect micros, all I've done with them. So it's them micros, Fin Perfect, straight out of the bag. We've done this loads of times before. Every time we do micros, we always show you how to prepare them. If I was fishing them for a method or a hybrid, I'd show them the water for like 40 seconds, drain it all off. With them, I've completely filled a 1 pint bait tub with pellets and water, and just let them all absorb that water, and then put them into a 2 pint one. So you can see how they're swelled. That's a 2 pint tub from a pint tub, and they're all individually lovely pellets. Absolutely perfect for feeding, tapping in, making into a little ball if I want to. Yeah, I could squeeze them into a little ball, and as soon as you get down to the bottom, they'll start breaking out. Such a versatile bait, micros. I absolutely adore using them, but you've got to be careful with them as well. If you start putting too many in, you get too many fish in your peg, liners, far lookers, your peg will just start erupting. So softly approach, and then fill your way into a session. And then the other thing we've got is we've just got some expander pellets. So the Pro expanders, we've got 4mm and 6mm, and all I do with them, so obviously the beauty of these pellets is you can put them straight into a tub, cover them with water, and that's it, you're away to go. I'd say obviously the warmer the water, they won't take as long to prepare. If it's a bit colder water, just allow yourself a good sort of like 50 minutes to an hour for them to sort of expand out. But literally from the bag, you can put them into a tub and add water. But how I like to prepare them is the night before, just your standard way. So get enough out for a session, put them into a bag, cover them with water, and then just have a really tight knot on the bag, put them in the fridge, you know, pick them up out of the fridge in the morning, and then they'll be good to go. And this is how we're going to use them today. So we've got 4mm and 6mm. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get them out of the bag first, like so, and put them into my bait tubs. I'm not going to cover them with water because it's overcast, you know what I mean? It's cloudy. We don't need to worry about them pellets drying out. However, if it was bright, you know, and obviously it's a little bit windy, I'm going to put them in there, then make sure you cover them with a towel or something like that, or just put a little bit more water on them. But what I want to show you, so that's them in the raw form, straight out of the bag, straight out of the packet, perfect expanders. They're lovely and rubbery, they'll stay in your hook, absolutely perfect. But what I want to do is just mix it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little pinch of each, put them in these tubs here and colour them. What I've got here, I've got some haze, I've got spicy sausage, and my favourite is in the whole wide world, pineapple and coconut. Now, it's one of them with, you know, flavourings, colourings. If you've got it up here and think it works, then it's going to make you fish better. Now, me, 100%, I'm convinced colours make a difference. And in particular, sort of like your yellow colouring this time of year, I'm just convinced it makes a difference. When the water's even more coloured, you know, like a red colour or something like that. So that's what I'm going to do next, and this is what I want to show you. So literally out of there, just going to take a few 6mm, don't need loads, a few 6mm in there, a few 4mm. If I catch a carp on every one of them, you know what I mean, get ready time. And I'm going to do exactly the same in this tub as well. There's a few 6s, a few 4s. So I've got more than enough there for a session. And I'm just going to put some colouring on them. So we'll go for spicy sausage first. Sausage. Just literally just little tiny. Oh, it smells amazing. And then just give them a little, literally that's all you need to do. And you could even do this, you know, so they like impregnate into the pellet even more. You could do this the night before as well. But I find it, I like to do it on the bank, you know, on my session of fishing, just so you're getting that little bit of an ooze out of the pellet. Just sort of like get a little bit more of a slick out of the pellet than what you would if you prepared them the night before and let it all soak in, that kind of thing. But it's all about personal preference. Look at them. You know what I mean? Look how they've changed from them. You getting that in, Jakey? Look at the state of, whoa, they're going straight on. And then this one here, we'll just get some pineapple and coconut on. It smells flipping amazing here now. Surprised Minnie Moo's not coming over, having a sniff. I knew she's upwind, didn't she? She's upwind, folks, so she can't smell the spicy sausage. And then we'll get some. This is my favourite one, folks, these yellow ones. Look at them. Let me show you them. Have you seen how they stand out? Look how they stand out over them ones. So they're your natural ones, pineapple and coconut, and then we've got the old spicy sausage ones on. Oh my days, folks. Right, come on, let's get in. Let's just not mix them up a bit. Let's get some of them back in there. And let's get in. So we're going to do this in one, because, of course, it's Andy May's crash course, isn't it? We've got to do it in a one. Right, so first things first, we need to feed our bait. Now, you've got to be careful when you're feeding. Yeah, certainly like match conditions, you don't want to go all guns blazing and put flipping loads of bait in. I'm fishing for, you know, one fish at a time to come in, certainly over there. And that's the other thing I like to do as well, folks. I like to start away from me. You know, if you can imagine, not so much when you're pleasure fishing, but if you can imagine the chaos of everyone walking around, I think it naturally, certainly carp-wise, naturally pushes the fish across there. So that's where I'm going to start, and then I'm going to come back down the middle. Might not be here long enough to catch proper down the middle, but obviously I'm going to show you how to feed it, show you how to lay the rig and everything like that. So pot-wise, obviously, I don't want to go for my big pot. Them are the two pots that I'll use. So we've got the small and the medium. I'm going to start off with a small one. I'll fill it right up. Obviously carp, yeah, this time of year they love feeding, so I will fill it right up, but I'm not putting loads of bait in. If I show you how much bait I'm putting in there, yeah, so I'll fill that pot up. That's all we've got, yeah, tiny little area, but all it is, it's a focus point for a carp to come into, see your expander, and then just nail it straight away. That's all we're going for. Now, if I feel as though I'm not putting, you know, not putting enough bait in, then that's when I'll move up to a medium. Very rare I'll put the large pot on. Occasionally I will do, but very rare I'll put the large pot on. Always start off on that, then you can, you know, work your way up. If you were to put a medium one on, put that bait in, and the fish didn't necessarily want it on that particular day, once you've put the bait in, you can't take it out, that old adage. So what we'll do, I'm going to put a little bit in my toss pot first to start off with. Then I'm going to come back and then we'll go through the fishing aspect. So starting off wise, just about as much as what you'd put in one of them little baby pots. That much. That's what we're going to put in across. And then I'm going to feed it a little bit different down the middle in that I'm going to make a little tiny ball so I know exactly where my bait is. Over there, obviously that's shallow water and the pellets are well soaked. They're going to sink pretty quick over there. There's a wind died for us as well. That'd be nice if it had. So I've got my little white flower over there. That's my marker. I'm on the end of the joint of my pole. Line up with that. I'm just going to sneak that bait in. That's not going to take long to sink whatsoever. So that's that bit fed there, and this is exactly what I'll be doing in a match. I want to make sure I've got some bait in so that by the time I've come back, fed me other swims, obviously, although we're not fishing it today, match conditions, or pleasure fishing conditions, I would have swims, you know, down the edges as well. Probably do a one rig does all. Use the same rig as what you do across, just find the same depth of water. Now down the middle, I'm feeding this a little bit different, so I want to make sure that my bait's in a nice little compact area, and hopefully we'll start seeing them fizz on this line. So what I'm going to do with them fingers, I'm coming into my micros, I'm just making a little ball, just giving it a couple of squeezes like that, so it's in a nice little, what size ball's that? What did J-Lad say the other day? Sprout size. That's not a sprout, that's a nutmeg. No, that's a small. Jakey's saying conker. The conkers I pick, folks, they're flipping miles bigger than that. That is a losing conker. Bloody conker. Let's go for no, a big grape. I know them cotton candy grapes that you can get in Aldi. They're like the best grapes in the world. But anyway, right. So waffling, aren't I? Sorry, Jakey. Jakey's laughing his head off now. Right. So down the middle, I'm literally. What I like to find when I'm fishing down the middle is like the bottom of the slope. So I'm literally right at the bottom, just as it starts to come onto the silt there, simply because I want to keep an eye on it. I want to see if they are fizzing. And when they do start fizzing, that's when I can start changing things. But to start with, I'm going to put that ball just into the silt, drop it from a bit of a height. There's my marker there. Doink, there we go. So that's going to sink straight down to the bottom, no commotion whatsoever. And I'll look to feed that. I mean, obviously we're doing this in a wanna, but match conditions, I'll probably look to feed that every, what we're saying, 15 minutes like that or something. But for today, hopefully we'll catch one or two fish over there, and then what I'll do is I'll come back down that middle, so we might only get to feed it once. Well, we'll see how we go, can't we? So I'm going to put a little babby toss pot right on the end of the pole there, and then we can get going. Hopefully I've shotted the float right. And I'm going to go straight in with, let's try one of these yellow ones. So expanders wise, so what's happening here, getting on that then, JK, he's on it, the grain is running down that way of the pellet. So what we've got to do is move it round to the side, get your hook, put it right into the middle, round the barrel, and just roll it on. Yeah, lovely sort of rubbery expanders them. They don't split whatsoever, absolutely perfect for the hook. Right, then let's come back, let's get some micros in there, fill that up and give it a light press down. The beauty of them pots as well as with the holes in, you know, them pellets come out nice and quick. And then just make sure, keep an eye on that rig, keep everything nice and low, everything's on the water, and then ship out. Right, let's see what we're going to catch. Where's my marker? There's my marker. I've got, oh, there's another white flower appeared over there. I think I was on that one. Can't remember. I think I was on that one. So I'm going to stretch out a tiny little bit first, put my bait in. Come back, lift that rig up. So everything's going nice and straight, and then just drop. So you can see the wind I've got over there. So the first thing I want to see is which way that toe's going. It's going slightly with the wind. I don't know if that was a liner straight away then. So if there's some small fish in, obviously we're still going to get them on expanders, but you're not going to get nowhere near as many as what you would if you were fishing, you know, maggots and casters and worms and things like that. Don't get me wrong, obviously natural baits do have the place this time of year, but I just love it when it's that change from sort of your hard pellets to your micros and expanders. It's a lovely way of fishing. Oh, that was a little dink then. Little liner. What I'm expecting like is a nice fast positive bite. Anything slow or to the side, I'm going to try and ignore. and wait for a bite at 1,000,000 miles an hour. The only trouble you have with expanders is if you strike too hard, they bloody fall off. So I'm going to have a little word with myself if I strike too hard and lose my bait first. You just want to just give it a nice sort of little strike. I won't say a firm strike, just a little babby strike. Just as if you were a little bit firmer than if you were moving your float, you know, lifting and dropping. Now, with it being, you know, predominantly carp, I'm not going to leave it overly long before I come back and feed it again. By all means as well, you know, open up another swim over there. Yeah, find the same depth, go left and right. But obviously for today's purposes, we've just got one swim. But it'd be the area that I target first of all. Look for that depth, sort of like your 2.5 to 3 foot fish there. And then judge from there. If you're not getting bites, a little bit deeper water. If you're getting foul lookers, liners, then chase them into shallower water. So let the fish tell you what they want. Ugh, so you can see that, battling with that wind a little bit. I don't really, the thing with pellets, certainly expanders, you don't really want that rig to be moving too much. Certainly not on a slope. Different with like skimmer fishing on expanders, you can lift and drop, but not with carp. Just gonna leave that a little bit. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I'll come back and feed it again. But what I'd expect, if there's a few fish there, I'd expect, you know, to get signs pretty quick. I'm not going to leave it over long. Oh, how have we missed that? Well, that's what we're looking for. Do you like my little babby strike though, folks? I'm quite impressed with that. So I'd have said that was a proper bite. But if it was a proper bite, then I'd have hooked it, so it must have been a liner. Must have been. So you see how I've laid that in? So I've brought the rig back towards me and then laid it in so it's going against the slope. What I don't want to do is just flick it out left or right because you're coming down the slope then. You want to make sure it's going back against the slope. Almost similar to like on this first slope here, if you're fishing short, you'd be flicking the rig out away from you. It's exactly the same process over there, but in reverse. How have we missed that bite? That's probably the best bite I've had all year. That's a liner. Could be a small fish. What a bite that was. Liner. Must have been a liner. You having that, Jakey? Liner? Jakey's. I don't even need to look at him. He's shaking his head. So, not going to wait too. But if I'd have had, you know, a commotion then, folks. So if I'd have had like a bow wave or, you know, a big swell, I'd have come back, put some more bait in. But I've not had any signs. I've not had any bow waves or anything like that. So as far as I'm concerned, there's still got bait there, and that fish that was just there should still be there. There's something there. So if there we go. We knew there was something there, didn't we? Because we just had that little babby liner. Float just went down dead slow, but it wasn't a proper bite. Yeah, that bite that struck at then, we knew that was a proper bite. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Lovely that. So basically, as soon as you've hooked the fish, obviously being carp, just ship back nice and quick. Get that carp down the middle so it plays itself out in that deep water. If it was a proper wobbly one going nuts, then you'd be wanting to unship a couple of times. Sorry, yeah, certainly once, so you can follow the fish out. But oh, look at him, little babby mirror. Perfect, I'd say absolutely bang on, perfect sort of pellet size fish, certainly expander size fish. And are you waiting to see where this is hooked? Oh, Jakey, you've got to get extra zoom in on this. You ready for this, folks? That is an absolutely immaculate, fully scaled mirror. Look at the state of that. Beautiful, but more importantly, Jakey, look where he's hooked. Are you giving me 10 for that? I think you've got to give me 10 out of 10 for that, folks. Absolute, beautiful, fully scaled mirror. Look at him. Oh, stunning. Right, I'm going to have another go over there. Absolutely stunning. Oh, so they're probably similar size to last time that we came here, all them years ago. So obviously the stocking regime is absolutely amazing. You know, if there's little babby fishing like that, but I know there's some grot piggins in. So again, 4mm expander on. If I was getting, you know, obviously there with small fish, that's why I've got some 6mm done up, just to sort of like pick the bigger fish out. But sometimes, you know, you might get the small fish on them bigger ones. That'll be all down to your feeding. But usually going to a 6mm, you know, gets rid of them little small fish. So exactly the same again. Fill that pot up with micros. I think we'll have another go over there. If we catch one quick over there, I'll feed that middle line again. And then we'll have a little ding-dang diddlies down there. But usually with that middle, oh no, they're fizzing. They're fizzing down the middle, JK. Oh yeah, that'll do. Yeah, usually with that middle, it's normally better the later you leave it kind of thing. So, obviously we're fast forwarding everything today. So again, there's obviously different ways of feeding as well. Could put you know, a little lid on that pot to sprinkle bait in if you wanted to make a bit of noise and draw fish in. But always starting off with, I do like to put a little pile in. So you can imagine what them micros are doing under the water, doing a tiny little sort of 2 or 3 inch square, and then you've got your nice standout expander over the top of it. You just can't fail. It's just so good. I really adore this style of fishing. And the colder it gets, what I'd definitely recommend you do is open up another swim. So maybe have 2 swims over there. Whoa! Now you saw that one, even if the float didn't go under, it was fast. Now obviously that's a fish sucking that bait in, and obviously spat it out as I went to strike. Oh, this is amazing. Drop that float there. Now what I've got to keep an eye on, obviously that fish was hooked absolutely perfect, but what I've got, this is flipping amazing. What I've got to keep an eye on is how many bites I'm missing or potentially foul hooking fish. Because I remember me saying I am pretty much over depth. I'm like 2 inches over depth because of the wind. But if that wind dies down a little bit, I'm gonna knock a little bit of depth off that float, that rig rather. Oh, this is so good. I'm gonna have to have another go over there, aren't I? Got to. So at the minute, obviously I wouldn't change absolutely anything at the minute. Absolutely anything. No point going bigger pellets, no point changing my feed or anything like that. Look. Immaculate. Look at the state of them. They are beautiful. Right, so yeah, because I am fishing over depth, things like this is not going to bother me. Look where he's hooked. So he's obviously in the bottom part of the lip. That's because, you know, that rig's probably settling to there because we're fishing, you know, two and a bit inches over depth. Don't let it bother you. At the end of the day, that fish, which is an absolute stunning little babby common, that fish caught, is in the mouth, it's fine. But if you're foul looking them and this, that and the other, then I definitely would change things. Don't change anything. No point changing anything. I was going to go a red one then, but it's no point, is there? Just stick with that. Right, I said I'd catch one more over there, didn't I? And that was that one. I'm going to catch another one over there. Can't resist it, folks. And then I'm going to come back down the middle. It'll probably be actually right for what I'd be doing in a match anyway. I'd normally leave it sort of 15 minutes. But you can see how you build a swim up, yeah? Just by putting that little bit of bait in. So what we're waiting for is like one fish to come in, that little pile of micros, see your standout hook bait and nail it. That's exactly what's happening. So under 2 or 3 seconds, micros out, lift your rig up, wait for it to all straighten up, and then from your float there, drop. And then when they're having it proper, certainly obviously F1 wise as well, when they're having it proper, you'll be getting them as you drop that rig, you know, as your hook bait's falling dead natural. So we know there's a fish there, little tiny liner. So we're just waiting for that float to go under nice and sharp, nice and quick. So ignore all them little slow pulls, wait for it. It might not take your float under like the bite we had just before that common. It was a definite bite, didn't pull all the bristle under, but it was a definite bite. You can tell a doink, like that. Oh, we missed that one as well. Flipping heck. So I'd imagine what would happen here later on into the session, we won't be here long enough though, is these fish would probably go into shallower water, because we missed a few bites already like that. They'd probably end up in slightly shallower water. So what we'd have to do is literally just chase them over. Feed the same, just chase them over. That's all you'd have to do. Because it is like a real steep incline, I found like a little tiny, oh, look at my neck. That's me talking to you then, folks. I find like a little tiny flat spot, but we'd have to chase them into shallower water. How good are them expanders though? Yeah, joking apart, that's 2 bites. I'm striking fairly firm, but that's 2 bites and they've not fell off. They're 100% bite. That's what's doing me head in. The bloody bites them as well. Can't say the liners them, folks. Actual proper bites. It's so good though, isn't it? So good. So you can see how accurate I'm being, yeah? So I'm over that little tiny pile all the time. Now, if I was to now suddenly go like a couple of minutes without a bite, that's telling me that all them fish have like nailed them micros. So what's that? I've had 2 bites within, you know, sort of a couple of minutes. So it tells me that the fish are really coming to that bait. And what that'd make me do is, you know, obviously ship back a little bit more often. That was a little liner. Ship back a little bit more often and feed, yeah? Because it's obvious that the fish are coming to that bait. Obvious. Just going to lift that up a little bit more. It's just gone down that slope a little bit. A little bit more bristle out. There we go. Oh, get ready. Get ready. I don't think you miss carp bites. Usually F1s you miss, but carps normally nail it. So I'd say what's happened now. Oh, so I've had like a bow wave come at me swimming then, folks. What I'm going to do is come back and feed it. That was a little bit longer between bites then. Which is telling me that the fish is straight in on that bait. They're homing straight on it. Look how good them expanders are, yeah? So we've had, what, 3 strikes on that. And look, still like new. Absolutely perfect. The quality of them. So, more micros in. Fill that pot up again. And then just be on it a lot quicker. If there was F1s in, I'd say they were F1s. I mean, there might be F1s in. I think there's just carp though. Carp and tench and skimmies. Right, so again, same process. Lower, sort of 2 or 3 seconds. Lift that pot up. Micros are in. Lift your rig out. And draw it over and then drop. There we go. That's going to go. You just get a visualisation in your head what's happening. Obviously the micros are sinking. They'll be on the bottom about now. And obviously a little tiny pile, and then your standout hook bait. That's what we want. I mean, a bigger hook bait might be even better. They might, you know, zone in on it even quicker. But it's still really early days. I don't want to change anything just yet. It's me and my reactions. Just need to be on it. Oh, I thought my reactions are pretty good actually. Or it could be like the depth as well. You know, maybe as it's gone that little bit calmer, knocking a little bit of depth off that float. Definitely been. Oh, so there's one there. So just wait for him. So it just tells you when you're feeding in that little tiny compact area when there's a fish in your peg. And you're just waiting for it to find your hook bait. So good. Oh, there we go then. So you knew that fish was there then, just for them little dinks. Obviously proper bite, 1,000,000 miles an hour, you just can't fail. Right, that's that done over there. I'm going to go down the middle now. I mean, match conditions, or if it was pleasure, I'd never ever come off them. One thing at the top of this, I forgot to mention, folks, was here at Cheshire Oaks Fisheries, it's fishery-owned pellets. However, we've been given a very special permission today to use Sonubaits ones. So thank you very much for that, but it is fishery-owned pellet. And you prepare them exactly the same. There's no difference, you know, no difference in the pellets. Really good batches at the minute. A lot of fisheries now are going to fishery-owned pellets, to be fair. But we've had special permission. Let's get him scooped. Oh, we missed him. Oh, we missed him. I thought it'd be straight in the bag then. It's a bit bigger, this one. So you can see why you need like a slightly heavier elastic for them. Oops, for them carps. And then hopefully, well, not hopefully, it'd be nice to just catch carps down the middle as well. Here we go. Little babby mirrors. What a bite that was though. Proper. These are absolutely immaculate. Even Minnie's like, oh yes, I want to lick one of them. Look where he's hooked again, Jakey. Can't give myself 10 now. I'm giving myself a 8.9. But look at the state of that. Another beautiful, fully scaled mirror. Oh, they are flipping stunning. Right, so that's fishing across. If I was in a match, I'd definitely be alternating like 2 swims, you know, let them get confident on one, changing to another one. If the wind was a little bit pungy for you over there, you do exactly the same thing down the edges, you know. If you've only got like an edge pole or something like that and you can't reach across, don't worry about it. Use that for a method over there and then do exactly the same thing what I've done, but do that down the edges. But I'm going to say, don't expect to catch fish as quick as what we have. Don't get me wrong, some days you will do, but the colder it goes, you might have to wait a little bit. But one thing's for sure, they will rock up. Right, let's get down the middle. And I'm going to put a slightly bigger pot on here because I'm going to feed it a little bit different. I'm going to feed it into like a little tiny bowl. Now these will be grape-sized bowls, folks, not blooming conkers. Not blooming conkers, Jakey. Jakey don't know what he's on about. So, exactly the same thing. I'm going to go with one of them expanders, one of them yellow ones. Oh, so good, aren't they? So how many goes do we have then? We had like, that was the 4th bite with that same expander over there. So, yellow expander, straight on. And I'm going to make, like I was doing before with that, but just not make it as big, yeah? Now that is grape size, come on. If that was a conker, Jakey, that's a blooming acorn, mate. It's not a bloody conker. Let's have a word with myself, don't you, blooming conkers. Acorn, Jakey. Right, so, how am I laying this in? Now I can see the fish fizzing down there. Probably skimmers, but they might be, hopefully the carp. I'd imagine the toe would be going, it was slightly backing up over there, be going from right to left. So I'm gonna lay my rig in this way, put my pellets in, and then draw my float over. So I'm going, so it's sort of like going with the toe, if you like. So I'm going to lay my rig in over there. There's my marker. I'm going to drop my ball of pellets in, right my marker, and draw my float right over it. There we go. And just wait. Now, I'd imagine, there's fish fizzing there, so we might get bites, but I'd imagine it'd take a little bit longer. Match conditions, I'll be waiting down here. You know, at least an hour or something like that before I even tried it. Just to get them really confident. And then usually you can go and extract a load in that deepest bit of water. Certainly the colder it gets, you see them fizzing just behind my float. Certainly the colder it gets, it really comes into its own, this deep water fishing. Now one thing I can do, because I'm on flat bottom there, lift and drop. I do love a lift and a drop. I'd never do it on a slope. I used to, but kept getting shouted at by the bagger and Jamie the Hughes, so I don't do it anymore. But flat bottom, oh yeah, I do love a lift and a drop. Now I'm fishing onto the stem of the float over depth there, but it's not actually that bad, so we'll see what's what. If I'm not getting bites or I'm... Oh, blooming heck. Yeah, we're just going to catch carp down the middle as well then. Flipping heck. So, yeah, I might be changing elastic. That is ridiculous. I wasn't expecting one that quick down the middle, folks. I won't lie. It just shows how flipping good this fishery is still, doesn't it? I've not been for 6-7 years. It's still as amazing as ever. What a fishery this is. Where's he going? Oh, it's an F1. It's an F1. I think it was anyway. I didn't know there was F1s in. Nobody told me about F1s. Yeah, boy! Look at them. I think last time we came and caught some actually, so obviously, look how that... Jakey, have you seen the state of these fish? That is absolutely... Oh, beautiful. Right, look where he's hooked. He is the scourgery. Oh, his bottom lip. That's no good for an F1, is it? That is absolutely stunning, man. See, why haven't we been here for years? What's going on with us? Right, we're coming here all the time. So, because that was hooked in the bottom lip and the wind's not too bad, I am going to just knock a little bit off that depth. So, literally like 3/4 of an inch, that's all. So, just move me trimmer shot down and just move me float to it. What a bite that was. Do I need to feed again? See, F1s, if I've had one that quick, normally I'd just use that one ball and try and catch 2 fish off it. But because it's still early days, I will feed again. You know what I'm like with feeding, folks. I'm going to go yellow again. It's one of them, because you've got so much confidence in something. It does make a difference and makes your fish better. So, little tiny ball, yeah? Literally, that's all we're putting in. So, let me break that out for you and just show you how much bait is there. Hardly anything. Yeah? And if you imagine your expander over the top, like that, it just stands out like a sore thumb. And that's the beauty of it. That's why it works so well. It's flipping amazing way of fishing. Right, let's get in again. So a little tiny ball. The reason I like to put it in a ball is, again, just because everything's concentrated. And you're getting your pellet right over it, and it's getting your bait down quick as well, because obviously it's deeper water there. I don't want to almost tempt them fish to come off the bottom. Can I believe I've just said that? You know how much I love shallow fishing, but I don't want to bring them off the bottom. So you see what I'm doing? I put that ball in, draw my float right over it, and there's still fish fizzing there. So you can see I've only knocked like 3/4 of an inch off that float, and it's sitting a little bit lower. Now that could be obviously fish coming in, scouring the bottom out, which, you know, does happen, certainly on silty venues. So what you'd have to potentially do then is, you know, change where you're fishing, or just come back up the slope a little bit. Remember me saying I want to be in the deepest bit of water, just going into the silt, to get them fish confident, you know, kicking the bottom up a little bit. But if it's too much of a problem, I will come back up the slope. A little lift and a drop. Oh, it's so good, this, isn't it? So good. I can't. Oh my flipping right. Yeah, JK, that's us. Every single feature we're just doing here. Ooh, that is amazing. So what if it was carp that I was catching? Obviously I would change elastic. Certainly match conditions. I wouldn't want it to, I wouldn't want these fish flying through people's pegs, unless it was Jamie next peg. I wouldn't mind going through his swim, you know what I mean? To be fair, like the size of them, they're not actually that. Where's this one going? They're not actually that bad, but with bigger carp, and there's some right whoppers in here. If it was bigger carp, then obviously you'd have to gear up a little bit. But for these ones, up to like two and a bit pound at the minute, it's not actually too bad. Plus, obviously the skimmers. I know I haven't caught skimmers, but if there's skimmers to be caught as well, then you're gonna have to be careful. This is just, yeah. You know how much I love fishing, folks, but this is just amazing. I can't believe the quality of the fish as well. They're mini moo. They're absolutely immaculate, stunning things, stunning fish. He's blooming angry, this one. He's not happy. I think. Yeah. So you can, looking at my peg there, I can still see bubbles coming up. So what I'd probably do is go straight back in, try and catch that fish. You've got to be careful with, like, as I said, the micros. It's different on a slope because every time you hook a fish, they're getting wafted out down the slope. So you can refeed that every time. But when you're on flat bottom, your bait's just moving, obviously, left and right. So you can potentially get too many fish there. So I'd probably try and catch that fish. And obviously, again, both bites we've had there have been within 2 minutes. So obviously, if you're not getting a fish within 2 minutes, it tells you that you do need to feed every fish. But oh, would you believe it? It's another immaculate one. That's biggest of the day as well. And I think we'll end on that. We just, where's he gone? He's just hooked himself through the net. He's right in the corner, and he's got another hook in him as well. So let's get our hook out first. There we go. So there's your right in the corner. And he's got another hook in him as well somewhere. Where's that one gone? Oh, that's been in a long time. It's like a method on that, I think, folks. Or at least we saved him. There we go. Another little hook there. Put that out of the way. But that is an absolute stunner to end on. Feisty little thing, probably 2.5 pound. Look at there. Look at the condition of these fish, folks. And they're still pretty warm, to be fair. You know, they've got a little bit of a coolness to them, but they are still pretty warm. Well, what can you say about that? That has been amazing. So what have we had? Five carp there. Just obviously keep an eye on things. I would have never ever come off that, you know, swim across. If I was in a match, I'd still be over there because obviously it was so good. But then going down the middle, I think that was a little bit better as well. But obviously it's so important to keep your swims going. Yeah, keep that little bit of bait going in. Alternate your hook baits as well. I can't stress that enough, folks. Obviously we've got our red and our yellow hookers there. Just alternate it. I'm convinced colours make a difference. It makes me fish better because I'm so confident about the fact that I'm convinced it does. The other thing that I forgot to mention as well, obviously about the pellet, was this bad boy as well. That's what I always prepare my micros in. Until it goes really cold, I'd always add this to the water. Yeah, so pint of water, add sort of like, you know, a good glug of that in, give it a swirl, and then put that over your pellets. Again, just little things like that just give me so much confidence. Just them flavourings, them additives, and this, that, and the other. I'm convinced they make a difference. But I'm going to carry on for a bit longer. Jakey's like, give me a go, Andrew, but it just shows you the importance of using the right bait at the right time of year. And what I mean by that is, obviously, yeah, you'll catch on maggots, casters, natural baits all year through, but they can become a problem if there's a lot of small fish present. Hard pellets, again, they can become a little bit of a problem the colder it gets. Micros and expander, switch over to them. You've seen the difference I've made today. Everything's been clean. We've missed a couple of bites, come on, but they were proper bites. They weren't liners, they were actual proper bites, which just shows how quick they are. Give Cheshire Oaks Fisheries a try, folks. If you've not been here, you've seen the state of the fish. It's flipping amazing. There's loads of work going on here. There's going to be another couple of lakes opening very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that. But as always, please, 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 don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and that's going to tell you when we're putting out these fantastic videos. But until next time, on another Andy Mays crash course, I'm going to carry on and catch me some more fishies. Hey!